What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. Now I'm going to go over a subject that has been hanging over boxing for a little while, man, but I'm just following it here, man, because obviously Steve Farhood has jumped off that Tyson Fury got robbed bandwagon against Deontay Wilder, and he says that no, he doesn't think that it was a robbery, and like most reasonable people would say, was not a robbery. But Steve Farhood was out there on Showtime, and from listening to what he was saying on Showtime, man, a whole lot of people thought, claiming that this fight was a robbery. Well, Steve Farhood, like I said, has stepped back from that, and I'm going to go through that. He distanced himself from what Paulie Mallignagi said. Clearly distanced himself from what the nonsense that Paulie Mallignagi was spewing. And it's a good thing, man. It's good to know that somebody on Showtime has got some damn common sense and knows how not to trash something just because they don't agree with the cards. So anyway, let me go. Before I do that, though, I want to thank everybody that is listening to the video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Definitely trying to grow it for specific reasons. And we thank everybody that supports. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody that tunes into the live streams and supports the channel through watching the videos. Now, let me go through what he said, and then I'll discuss it, because I think that the article actually came out in Showtime, came out on Boxing Scene. And sometimes, man, you just gotta, the way that I do this is I read the article and I try to ignore what the title says and try to apply that to what people have said in the past about what Steve Farhood thinks. The title is Showtime's Farhood. Fury deserved the decision over Wilder, right? But what he clearly says is this is a question about whether or not it's a robbery or not. Because there's one thing to say you could see how one guy wins the fight and somebody else saying that somebody else deserved the fight to win the fight. That's not the same thing as saying that there's no logical reason whatsoever to say that one guy won the fight over the other guy, right? That's what a robbery is. A robbery, you should hold robbery, calling something a robbery from something that there's no reasonable way that you could say that one person won a fight or did not win a fight. And when you have two knockdowns, when you have a bunch of close rounds and two knockdowns scored by the guy you think benefited from a robbery, you're tripping. You're tripping. But anyway, let's go through what he said about the fight, and then I'll discuss it at the end. Farhood said, I didn't expect it to be the atmosphere that I experienced there. There were 17,000 people there at Staples Center. It started off a little slow, then it started to pick up, and you got the impression that, Steve Farhood, I got the impression that Wilder needed to do something dramatic to be competitive. The feeling there was a sort of a reminder of how really exciting and how all-consuming a great boxing fight can be. That fight was just fantastic. It was a fantastic finish and obviously had a controversial decision. What I took away from it more than anything was that it was a great moment. I'm not a fan of heavyweights generally speaking, but when the heavyweights give you a good show, there's nothing like it. That moment in the 12th round when Wilder knocked down Fury and Fury looked like he was dead and got up and finished and won the rest of the round, it was one of the great moments of the year. It was a fight I'll take with me always. It's a fight I'll take with me always. It was very exciting. As far as the outcome, Farhood felt strongly that Fury should have got the decision. Quoting Farhood again, I think more people thought Fury deserved the decision than thought Wilder deserved the decision. I'm not going to go out and call it an utter robbery. I know Paulie thought it was a robbery and couldn't believe Roshan's score, which was 115-111 for Wilder, but I won't go that far because there were a lot of rounds where very little happened. And I get if some people scored some of those rounds for Wilder. I definitely thought Fury deserved the decision, right? That is separating himself from the nonsense that Paulie Mallignagi was spewing. Paulie Mallignagi was behaving in a manner that would lead somebody to believe that there was no way that Deontay Wilder could have won the fight. as if it was as if Deontay Wilder had been knocked down 4 times, right? He had not been knocked down 4 times and it had never landed a punch, right? And then there's just absolutely no way in the world that you could score the fight like that. But just like Farhood said, there were several rounds where very little happened. We said there was a lot of rounds where very little happened. If nothing's happening, you don't score a fight. And I've said this before to people that there is just because Tyson Fury raised his hands up, stuck his tongue out, and stuck his hands behind his back and didn't get hit for that did not mean he was landing punches. That's showmanship. And some people could have been impressed with that. Some people weren't impressed with that. Some people were impressed with the fact that Tyson Fury slipped punches. Some people thought you slip punches, cool, but some of those punches landed, and I will give the round to the person that landed a few punches versus the person that slipped a bunch of punches. Some people could say, well, I'll give it to the person that slipped the punches because that showed good defense, right? But the other guy could say, well, hold on, man, that shows effective aggressiveness, right? It was effective. It was effective aggressiveness. He hit him enough for me to consider it to be effective aggressiveness, right? You could see that fight either way. And that is the big disservice that Paulie Mallignagi did in his calling of that fight. The big disservice that he did to the champion, Deontay Wilder, and the fans by acting as if his opinion is the only thing that is valid. As if he can talk about a fight, read notes, have a microphone in his ear, and do all of that and do a better job than all 3 of the judges do collectively. Now, the only real thing that matters in this is that it was a draw. It was a draw. More than likely, we're going to get a rematch. Deontay Wilder kept his belt, and we're going to get to play it again. And it seems as if Deontay Wilder is willing and Tyson Fury are willing to play it again. I don't believe that this fight, Tyson Fury can want that fight in the UK, but I have no idea why in the world Deontay Wilder would allow him to have that fight in the UK. It's for Deontay Wilder's belt. It's not for Tyson Fury's belt. And putting on a good show doesn't mean or a show that some people think was good and some other people didn't think so highly of, like Bernard Hopkins, like George Foreman, right? That doesn't mean that you get to now get home court, that you get to take somebody else's belt and make them have them defend it in the UK, right? It's just not going to happen. I don't think that that's going to happen. But moving forward with Showtime, somebody really, and I'm telling you, man, I've said this more than I've said anything else about this fight. Somebody needs to put either a bug in Paulie Mallignagi's ear, or a brick upside his head, or a slap, not a brick because that'll hurt him. I wouldn't want the cat hurt, or a slap upside the head, and say, Paulie, you are not a judge. You are not a judge. You don't get to decide who wins and who doesn't win. You get to talk about what's going on in the fight. What's going on in the fight. And once the judges render their decision, you've got to respect the judge's decision. You can say I would have scored that for Tyson Fury, or I would have scored that for Deontay Wilder, right? But to castigate the judges and say that they are completely illogical and there's some type of massive corruption going on because somebody doesn't agree with you is you being a crybaby, and number 2, it's you decreasing or negatively affecting the value of the product that Showtime is putting out there. Nobody asked Paulie Mallignagi to judge. If you can, even to judge the fight is one thing. That's fair. Well, I would have scored that for Tyson Fury. But, Deontay Wilder won the fight. Deontay Wilder got a draw. We'll see it again. And, hey, Tyson Fury's got to do these things a little bit differently next fight. Deontay Wilder's got to do I hope I didn't say that twice. Tyson Fury's got to do this different next fight to get him more, to make that win more convincing. Deontay Wilder's got to do this to make that win more convincing. And we'll see you next fight. Not some big long tirade about corruption in boxing and how the one judge who gave it 115, 111 for Wilder was ridiculous. What about the draw? If you think that it was the robbery is because of two judges, not one. You disagree with the draw, but okay, well, I can see how he'd had it for a draw, but I can't see how he could win. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm glad at least Steve Farhood, and I didn't hear the actual interview on where was the actual interview was on the ropes radio. So I have to actually listen to it. But from what I can see on print, that sounds like he's walking that back a little bit, and I'm glad he's walking it back a little bit. He thinks that Tyson Fury won. He thinks Tyson Fury deserved the decision, right? That's even a nice way to say it. He deserved the decision. He didn't get it, right? It's not that he won the fight, and that might be some little small difference, but deserved the decision and he won the fight are two different things, right? Nobody won the fight. If anybody won, Deontay Wilder won because he successfully defended his belt. Right? That's the fact. You believing he deserved the decision, hey man, that's well within your right to do so. But it's not a robbery. Anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.